banana slam jam.
How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Not so bad, not so bad. What's your deal, man? Why are you here? What's your MMR position, all that kind of stuff?
So, I used to play all different types of carry, and then recently I just got into playing position 1. That's the one I wanted to get the most experience out of, I guess I should say.
When you say all types of carry, do you mean like core roles? Like 1, 2,
Yeah,
3?
so
okay.
Yeah, so I used to play offlane a lot, and then once I got really good, well, not really good at offlane. Once I learned how to play offlane really well and understood like what offlaners wanted to do to me, I went to safe lane because that's kind of like how I did it.
Okay.
Because like when I was playing offlane, I was super aggressive and aggro on heroes, and I was like really annoying in lane, so where I would push people out. So then I was like, okay, now I understand what people would do to me. So then I went to safe lane, and now
Okay.
I've just been playing safe lane core pretty much.
Okay, so I'm just warning you ahead of time that you've come off like you believe you're very good at Dota. So
No, I am actually terrible at this game.
okay, so what's your MMR?
3.2.
Okay, so I'm not necessarily saying you're like coming off as like some cocky asshole. I'm just saying that you're like, hey, once I got really good at offlane. So
yeah,
I didn't want you to like alley-oop yourself to be like, yeah, I'm 1K. And it's like, yikes. So obviously 3K is still pretty low in terms of comparing yourself to what I would say is really good for it.
Yeah, like
but all things aside, I usually like to think of really good as relative. So if you're like a 3K player and you think your offlane's better than 3K or whatever, then I would consider you like really good at offlane for like your bracket or whatever. So you said you're back to carry. How long you been doing it?
Like 2 weeks now, 2-3 weeks now.
Okay, so not too long. What is your play style? Like, what are your favorite heroes?
So I've limited myself to playing 3 pretty much.
Okay.
And I play Luna, Wraith King, and Jug. Those are like my 3 safe heroes.
Luna, Wraith King, and Jug. That's like that's a decent balance, I'd say. Okay. Do you have the Wraith King Arcana?
I do.
Nice. Okay, that's value. I just obviously I can't say you should spend money, but at the same time, if you're gonna only have 3 heroes, it feels like that'd be wrong. Okay, so do you have any initial questions before we go in, or you just want to hop into a replay?
No, we can just hop right into one. That's fine.
Cool.
Let me find one here. I'm actually gonna do this one. So this is one that I lost, and there was a Smurf Tinker on the other team, which was really fucking annoying. But
okay,
I didn't really know what to like, I guess, build to counter him, because he just got to the point where he carried his team, and it was very frustrating because like their safe lane lifestealer did nothing. Their like every other hero on their team, I mean, their Pudge was pretty good, but I mean, even then, like he became kind of useless at a point or another. So I just was trying to make it to where like I could build so that I could catch the Tinker, and I still couldn't even like catch him. It was kind of. Is that better?
Yeah, it's better. Okay. It's not your fault or whatever. I can just change the point. Okay. Okay. So you're Wraith King. You're against Tinker, like you said. That got super frustrating. Is this offlane Quap?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, offlane Quap's been a tad annoying for me. I would say leveling your vampiric aura this early is definitely bad. There could just be some benefit to potentially leveling your stun. Even if you end up leveling your aura, on any hero that has options, I think it's really bad to preemptively skill. You're just leaving it so like the 10 to 20% of the time that it's better to stun somebody at the rune or something, you just can't, right? Dota, you want to leave as many options available as possible at all times, whether or not that's your farming pattern later on, whether that's your level 1 skill build. I see this a decent amount at 2 to 3K players. It may seem like BSJ, I'm going to level my vampiric aura 90% of the time. It's like, or 95% of the time. Well, it's like, what about that other 5% where you regretted leveling it, you know? It may take you 20 games to get punished for that. But this overall mentality of keeping your options open at all times is really important to me as a player. Like, I think if you can, you do.
30 seconds.
So this is just a small example. I would never stand on the low ground. I respect the disco ball, though. Okay. If you want, you don't have to. I just want you to consider that when the lane gets dragged under tower like this, you can always A-click the quap to drag this melee creep to you over here while you're getting this one.
Okay.
Just something, I'd already talked about this recently, I don't want to go into too much detail, but if you think it's good for you, the only downside potentially is that your range creep doesn't get deniable. So like in an ideal world, you'd get this down to half, and then do that, and then get both creeps, and then deny your range, right? Like that would be the perfect play. Just something to be aware of, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Okay. So the lane got shoved into your tower, first level, which means that obviously the lane's going to push. But now it's back to normal. Good. I think in this lane, I'd actually really like you to have your stun, at least at level 1. I think with heroes like Pudge, and especially with a follow-up like Willow, I don't think Willow's a good 5, but the fact is you have a stun that sets up her route, so I think...
Yeah.
What happened there where she got gone on by Pudge, and then you just sat in lane, was correct for you to sit in lane, because you leveled the skills that you did. Your hero just doesn't do anything. But as a carry... I think it's really important, if possible, that if my support's getting gone on, I can offer some sort of assistance. Sometimes that is literally me walking over aggressively, and the other guy is forced to walk away because I do that. But your support, just like how as a carry, I appreciate if I get gone on, my support can do something about it. I also want the reverse, if possible. There are some carries that just don't do anything, right? So if you don't do anything, don't do it. But in terms of like considering your stun or your passive crit here, that's my main consideration. And if I think it's significant enough, I'll usually level whatever ability, even if it's slightly inconvenient for me. But I'll do it. I think you could have potentially walked over and helped, but if you don't even consider leveling your stun, then I can't really coach you past that, right? Like, I have to get you to that mindset first. So that's why I'm not, like, even looking at the scenario to see if you could have helped. I want you to play out your future games with this mindset, and maybe you'll have that in mind. So, okay, so you do level your stun now, interestingly enough.
Dire's courier has been killed. Dire's top tower is under attack.
So I haven't really commented on the wand. I'm sure some people in chat are saying, you know, BSJ, aren't you going to mention the wand? Under my impression, maybe I'm wrong, that I see every Wraith King either 032 or 131. I think your Vampiric Aura is just, like, way too good to not level. So your crit, let's just do some math. Your crit chance goes up by 2% every level to do 300% damage. So that means 2% of the time you're hitting for an extra 150.
Yeah.
So that means you're gaining 3 damage? Is that correct math there?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. And then this one gives you 9 damage. So the only difference is that you look at this and you say, I get an extra 2 skeletons. Which is nice and all, that's great. But the majority of the lane, you're not actually summoning skeletons. So at the very least, I would have taken a second point in this. Not only that, but you're also getting, you know, twice as much lifesteal, which is general just sustain. So the way I look at this is that Your level, I really focus on a lot of efficiencies, like just little things that add up. Like, so for there, I just did quick maths to give you, like, this is more damage, right? That's more lifesteal, that's more sustain, that's more last-hitting damage. That shit just adds up over the course of, you know, an entire lane. On top of that, when I look at this wand, right? You spent 250 gold on top of the stick, meaning, like, I consider stick and wand to be the same item, but wand gives you 3 all stats. For 3 all stats, I generally, on strength heroes, don't value wand very highly. If there's something else I can buy. So, like, on Lifestealer, for instance, let me just pull up my game of... Yikes, that game history. Lifestealer here. Let me just show you my items. This is an example where on Lifestealer, I have 50 base damage, right? So I go this stick because I needed one in the lane I was against. But then before I complete that wand, I go for this item that's going to be an item I use, right? It's not just some random smorgasbord item. I'm obviously going to build phase boots. But I go for this item that pads my issue, which is 50 base damage. If you had to say an issue with Wraith King, what would it be? It's not
base damage.
It's not base damage.
Or not base damage. Probably your mana pool.
Well, the stick already solves the mana pool as much as a wand would. So what could be an issue with Wraith King? It's not how much damage you do per attack, it's how much... what?
Oh, your attack speed.
It's your attack speed. Or your movement speed. Great. Perfect. That's fine. Both of those are reasonable options. So, like, in this situation, great. Go for the stick. But I would either have a Glove of Haste or boots before I get this full wand. I just think delaying those necessary items to kit your hero is just unnecessary. Like, it just delays little bits of efficiency. If I have 2 points in lifesteal with a Glove of Haste, I don't know if this Quap can actually hit me enough. I actually don't know. Like, maybe she can. But then at the same time, like, so Glove of Haste would be that I'm planning to hit a lot more creeps. Boots means maybe I'm looking to evade some damage by having faster movement speed and also looking to be a threat. So then at that point, it's like, which item comes first? So for me in my lane, I went for this. And then I also built the Oov at the same time I built the Wand, because I also wanted to be a bit more aggressive. Damage, aggression, Wand. So it's like, I don't think Wand is, like, right now I think Wand is a pretty good item. So there's a lot of lanes that I'm going to buy it. But delaying these necessary items for the sake of it is just, it's 3 all stats. That's all it is. 250 gold for 3 all stats. Like, yeah, it's actually decently efficient, but most heroes, especially strength heroes specifically, just don't care about 3 all stats. It doesn't change their lane. It doesn't do anything. Like, a lot of agi heroes, they care a lot about 3 all stats. They do. Because a lot of agi heroes, that extra bit of tankiness and raw HP effective is better because they have like 6 or 7 armor. And like giving them that extra bit of HP boost with the wand and shit is really nice. On strength heroes, they usually have like 2 armor. Like, that's usually what you're looking at. You know?
Yeah.
In your case, you're level 4, you have 3 armor. So it's like having that extra trait ability or armor or whatever, damage on Lifestealer is a big deal on these strength heroes. They don't lack stats. Like, that's not what these strength heroes are missing. So, big little speech there, but moving on. Just something to think about. Wand is a luxury item. It doesn't change anything, just gives you a little bit of efficient gold for stat trade. So if you don't need that, or if there's something else you do need, you know, you should do that. Okay, so let's see here. This lane gets pulled back. Something you can consider is during that time you could have stood here instead of here. What does standing here instead of here do for you?
Keep you out of vision.
Keeps you out of vision, but also like when the lane pushes into you, what's Quap gonna do?
Oh, push with the lane.
So she's gonna go down the lane, but also like, what's she actually gonna do? The lane's pushed into you. What is Quap thinking to herself right now?
Oh, hit him?
Where are the enemy creeps? Where did they go?
Oh, okay.
Why are there no enemy creeps? So where's he gonna go?
Oh, to my support. Where
yeah. So if you stand right here, what does this do for you that doesn't do here?
It gives me a better chance to go to her if she starts...
Potentially make her not do this. Potentially scout out for the support and say, hey, Quap's coming over. You know, potentially kill her. You know, whatever lane you're in. I'm not saying this one, but The point is, there's simply no benefit to standing here as opposed to here. Do you see that, right? So I'm going to try to point out all these scenarios I can possibly point out. But a lot of it, similar to my last coaching session, is what is the opponent going to do in a response that just happened? So my support pulled. Most people are not potato enough to be like, wow, there's just no creeps here. Yikes. Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, there's no creeps. It must be over here, you know, by process of elimination. So they're going to walk over. So just something to think about. Okay.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Since you said you played off lane, if the enemy team has no creeps, what are you going to do? You know, you're going to walk over.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
I think the only reason I didn't walk over is because, so, my buddy is the hard support.
Yeah.
We were playing together, and he had stacked it before. So I kind of figured that the creep wave would be dead by then already.
It doesn't really, but like the point is, there's really no negative, right? So there's only a positive. So I see what you're thinking, and my goal for you is to just have the way that I'm thinking about the game is what's going to cause you to have random moments of just killing somebody, or like random moments of just like something working because you were ready for it at all times, right? Like that, and that's the point. So, in my experience, I've actually not played too much Wraith King ever since people started building him like this. But in my experience laning against it, and the few times I've played it, at this like point in the lane, you kind of just hit creeps, right? Because you get free damage from your passive, both passives, and then you get free lifesteal. So, you just kind of hit creeps, and then you still have a ton of health, because you just don't hit creeps. So the way I look at hitting creeps on a hero like Wraith King is that all my items should be built around hitting creeps, so that's why the wand for me doesn't really do much. But second off, I would actually just rather avoid the opponent unless I'm full health, because there's just no reason not really to be full health. Like, why not, if what's happening in the game right now, why not just go hit these?
Yeah.
Right? If you watch me play Lifestealer, it's a similar concept. Anytime I'm not full health, I'm just going to hit creeps. So whether or not those are lane creeps or jungle creeps is simply based on like the situation. But it's usually based on like I don't want to be near the opponent while I'm doing it, because I'm just hitting creeps. I'm not hitting them. I don't want to hit them. It's like I'm half health. I just want to get all my health back for free, right? That's what I'm going to try to do. So in this case, this is a perfect example of a carry just contesting lane for no reason. It was the same thing I had in my last session. He was 4.9k, so just know that, you know, it's not just people in 3k. I asked myself, based on my health and the way my hero works, Wraith King, Lifestealer being very similar in this, you know, do I want to be near the opponent or do I not? And right now, it's like I'm half health, and if I hit creeps 10 times, I'll be full health. Great, you know? Also, this idea of what the lane looks like for Wraith King most of the time at 5.5 minutes is why people go 1-3-1. Because what I just told you, it'd be much more efficient to get your health back with an extra 7.5% lifesteal, right? You know, that'll just make you get your health back faster. So, with all these things in mind, all I'm saying is the lane's this far up, it's not good for you, almost always as carry. When you're looking at a Quap Pudge lane, how do they come back? Does Quap out-farm you and come back?
No.
How does she come back?
By killing me.
Okay. So every lane's a bit different, right? Certain heroes come back by farming. Certain heroes come back by killing. Oftentimes the offlaner is the killer, you know? But if it's a hero like Axe, and I'm ahead, what am I not going to allow him to do? Like, if I'm against an Axe, and I'm ahead.
Not let him farm?
I'm not going to let him, like, cut creeps and pull him into big camps, right? Because that's what he does. He wants to play really efficient and just, like, get all the creeps he can. So if I'm ahead, I'm going to try to do my best to stop him from doing that. But against a lot of offlaners, especially Quap, like a ranged hero with really no way to, like, farm at all. Like, yeah, Scream, but it's just not that great. Just don't give them kills. They can't clear waves, or, like, they can't clear jungle camps. Like, they need at least, like, level 8 or 9 before they start really clearing waves. Puck's the same way. These heroes just don't really farm until later. And so I'm just content to freaking hit creeps as long as I'm hitting creeps. Like, I don't care. If there's a creep to hit, I'll go hit it. It doesn't need to be near this guy. So get in this mentality where whatever creep you can hit to get your life back, it doesn't need, like, you don't need to shut this guy down. It's all about your game, especially as Wraith King. I've noticed that the most annoying games I've played against Wraith King when I'm offlane is when he pushes the wave into me and walks and hits neutrals and I can't do anything about it. Like, I'm just like, well, he's full health again. You know, like, shit. And I just did 300 damage to him, and he's full health again. So, you know, part of that's the perspective of the offlaner, where, like, I learned a lot about certain carry heroes in my experience of playing offlane, because I was like, wow, playing against those heroes was really annoying because of this, you know? And Wraith King is that example. So, it's not necessarily that it's like, you know, you got hooked, you're out of position. It's like, why are you even contesting these guys? So, all of my focus so far in this lane has been avoiding these random situations that put you at a net. The odds of being worse are higher. Yeah, like, that's the goal. So I guess my question would be, you know, I made a phase boots versus treads discussion. I made this entire thing on YouTube. It's like a 5-minute discussion. And people asked me, another example from another day was, when do I go phase boots on Tide, and when do I go mana boots into Greaves? So if you had to choose one on Tide, like if the game was perfect, you're an offlane player, would you go mana boots or phase? If the game was just perfect, say there's no other heroes in the game.
Probably phase boots.
I would go mana boots, because I'm spamming fucking Anchor Smash, and I just want to use all my mana to farm creeps as fast as possible. I can understand why some people would say phase boots, but I personally think phase boots, why would I buy phase boots based on that description? Why would I buy phase?
To run away.
To run away. And I'm against like a Monkey King or an Ursa. I need that extra 4 armor and that movement speed. Maybe I need them to chase somebody down, right? Like, it could be aggressive, it could be defensive. But if I'm thinking purely about my hero, I would prefer mana boots, because if they don't exist, I just want to hit creeps, right? Yeah. So usually every hero I have this like boots decision on. I come to this like question of, okay, if I have a boots decision, which one would I pick if no other heroes were in the game? And then, if I'm going to pick the other one, why? Right? So, what are the 2 boots decisions on Wraith King? It's phase and treads, right? Yeah. So, which one do you think, if you could, you would go every single game?
Treads? Because
Why?
It gives you farming speed?
Yeah, it's farming speed. Yeah, treads. I'd go treads every single game if I was allowed to. If no other hero existed in the game of Dota, I'd go treads. What about this lane, though? How does Pudge Quap deal with me? What do they do?
They slow the shit out of me.
And then walk at me. So what boots should I buy here?
Probably phase boots.
I need phase. It'll prevent me from dying. Simply put, like, it'll save me. If, like, even the phase active as the Quap dagger is flying at me, I'll clear an extra 200, 300 units before that dagger hits me. Right? Like, I'll be 200, 300 units better positioned by the time that dagger hits me. Like, that's just how I look at it. And if Pudge rots me, I could actually maybe escape the radius of the rot by phase booting, right? The point is that every hero has this default, and every hero may have to adjust to get there. I talked about this with my offlane last week, and I'm going to mention it to you now. I don't care about your farming efficiency and how fast you hit creeps if your item decision caused you to die once, right? Like, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't add up, right? You're hitting creeps faster, but you died for 45 seconds, and you're telling me over the course of the next 10 minutes that you're farming that phase boot, or that tread to phase boot decision saved you more than 45 seconds? It's like, no, it didn't. It's enough to, like, matter, meaning, like, if you could go treads, you do, but it's not enough to save you that much, right? So, just thinking like that. Usually the phase boots and treads and all that kind of decision is based on the lane. Usually it's just like, what do I need to get past that first, 8 minutes or whatever? Once I buy this item, what point in the game was it? I think this was a lane that, based on where it went, you were level 5, Quap was level 4. I don't think he should ever see you again. Like,
yeah,
the lane should just be, like, what he sees of you is you showing up with 4 skeletons, shoving the wave, and walking away.
Okay.
Think about it from Quat's perspective. What does he do? Sits underneath his own tier 1, hitting the creeps that you pushed into him?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, and you may say, BSJ, what about, like, shutting down the offlaner or whatever? Who's getting more out of this?
Me.
You. And what kind of hero are you? Are you a hero that plays around your own timing or shuts down the opponent timing?
I play around my own timing.
Yeah, so we don't give a shit about his, right? Like,
yeah.
That's the mindset, right? If I'm an anti-mage against a Pango, am I pushing the lane out and shoving jungle or farming jungle?
Yes.
Why though? Like, if I'm level 7 and he's level 5, why would I push it into a Pango?
Because he's gonna disarm you and just.
But if I'm level 7 and he's level 5, do I push the lane into a Pango?
Oh, yeah.
Can Pango recover farm at all?
No, not
Can
really.
he walk up in lane? I guess would be a better question. If the lane's near my tower, can Pango, if I'm level 7 and he's level 5, can he walk up in lane?
No.
So why would I push it?
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Do you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like, if by actually pushing the lane in as anti-mage against Pango, I'm just giving you a random matchup. I'm actually giving the Pango more than he should get, which in return will cause me to potentially die later, because I'm giving him more items, right? But in your case, how much are you really denying from QoP by being in lane?
Not really anything.
Not really much, right? In comparison to how much you would gain by playing for yourself, right? Like, so when I'm thinking about it as anti-mage, it's like, if I'm pushing the lane in, how fast do I jungle at like 7 minutes in the game?
Not the fastest.
I'm really fast. I'm not a fast jungler. So giving that Pangolier a full creep wave to benefit from me jungling just isn't really worth it, right? But as a Wraith King, when you're like, I don't shut this guy down at all, and I can clear both the or the large camp and the small camp every minute while pushing the wave, you know, like, it's just, the numbers don't match to, like, contest this guy in lane, right? They just don't add up. So that's like, you know, people say, BSJ, do I push the lane into his tower and farm jungle, or do I keep it back and, like, lane and static it? It's just numbers. Like, how much am I benefiting from playing for efficiency? And how much is he benefiting? How much am I losing out on in efficiency by contesting him? And how much is he losing by me contesting him, right? So in this case, I would immediately be in the mind, and this isn't something I expect you to know for every single matchup, but I would say on a lot of heroes, such as Wraith King, it's going to be similar every game. So on Wraith King, I would say the majority of the time, if you're winning, you're going to be shoving that lane in and farming both these two camps every minute. That's what you're going to be doing. There are probably exceptions. I can't even think of them off the top of my head. But that's the default. If you're going to walk up and trade with somebody like this, I would definitely summon skeletons. I don't see a reason not to. So everything you're doing right now would have just been better if you summoned skeletons right away. Maybe she has to walk through them to get to you, or whatever. And the whole time you were hitting her with your stun, she would have been, you know, getting hit by skeletons as well. So your overall approach there, I think, was actually correct. I would have just done it with skeletons immediately. Because the skeletons aren't needed to clear these camps faster than the MMR. Do you see this? Like,
yeah.
The speed for the skeletons. Your main concern is clearing that wave every single time. And the goal is, like, once you get enough levels, enough items, all that kind of shit, maybe you can add Ancients to that rotation. You know, maybe, like, you can clear almost every wave, both of those camps, and an Ancient, right? Like, that's how pushing efficiency is going to work. As you gain more levels, as you gain more items, you can start pushing the limits more and more. And so, now that we're in this mindset of just ignoring this QoP, my next question would be, are you scared of QoP underneath your own tower?
No.
Okay. Are you scared of a Tinker rotating on you and killing you?
No.
Are you scared of a Lifestealer rotating on you and killing you?
No.
Why the fuck aren't you bottom? Where are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You know? Like,
yeah.
So my point is, if you leave bottom, what would the benefit of you being bottom as opposed to doing what you're doing now?
I could hit jungle creeps and lane creeps at the same time.
So that's your benefit. And when you're pushing lane creeps, what does that also do?
It hits the enemy tower.
If they don't show up.
Yeah.
So by staying bottom, I'm effectively forcing one of them to inefficiently be bottom. Wouldn't you agree? When I mean inefficiently, I mean you're clearing like twice as many creeps as they are.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, they have to be bottom to defend the tower. So what does that mean for the rest of your team?
They're able to rotate around.
They're fighting a 4v4 while you're farming, right? Rather than a 4v5. Like, that's what you've now turned into a non-AFK farmer when you take that mindset. So last game, he was really far behind, his hero was really weak, and he kept showing in lanes and dying. You're like the opposite. You're actually, despite what happened in your 2 deaths, you're still having a pretty decent game. Your hero's actually pretty strong in the grand scheme of things, meaning like they're not going to kill you, really. And you're not doing it, right? So people, like everyone watching and anyone who saw the other session as well, and you, obviously, I'm talking to, just ask yourself, can I farm this lane without giving a shit? If the answer is yes, you need to be there. Like, do not farm jungle camps unless there is no other lane for you to go to. Like, most of the time, it is actually more efficient to also jungle the lane. Or, sorry, to farm the lane. And jungle at the same time. So, start to really ask yourself that question. Because I asked you, and you answered, you know, I asked you all the reasons why you'd be scared to go bottom, and you said no to all of them. Right? Like, right now, what's happening top? This tower bottom should be dead. Right now. It should already be dead. Based on this. Like, all this shit. Wouldn't you agree if you had been bottom right here, this tower would have been consistently pushed. You see 3 heroes here. You are already hitting this big camp, and you're like, wait a minute, everyone's top. What do I do? I'm hitting this camp, I see 3 top. What do I do now?
Go hit creep. Or go hit the lane.
Yeah, you go hit the tower, right? And the tower's already pushed, right?
Yeah.
So that's why, this is an example of, like, that's why constant, consistent pressure is so important as a carry while you are farming. Because if you are constantly pressuring, when the opponent tries to do something elsewhere, they just lose buildings. Like, they just lose towers. And so if you are capable of doing it, it is super important. Super important. So maybe you end up taking the tower later, but because it took you the 30 seconds of them fighting to actually push the tower, they could actually respond to you after taking their fight. So here, every hero is different. On Wraith King, what should I do at the bare minimum if I don't want to hit that tower?
Send my skeletons.
You should send your skeletons, right? Like, at the bare minimum. You're not using them to farm. You're full mana. You're going to get them back, you know, by killing these jungle creeps. So, at the very least, you know, put some skeletons on that tower. I think you could probably hit it, but if you don't feel safe to hit it, by all means, you know, fuck it. Throw some skeletons at it. Better late than never. But yeah, sense of urgency needs to be there. Okay, great. So we feel safe enough to force into their tower. We want to retreat to here. I would have argued you could have even maybe farmed their ancients, but if you don't want to push it, that's fine. Just because you have a ward around there, that kind of tells you, hey, there's nobody here.
Yeah.
I told person last session, wherever I think I'm allowed to push the lane, that determines where I can jungle. So if I can push the lane into their tier 2, that usually opens up the opponent ancients for me. Okay. You see that? Like how if the camp is farther back than where I think I can push the wave, I should... It doesn't always work that way, okay? Let's just be very clear. But that's a pretty good estimate of where you can farm. Okay. Yeah, I would just summon skeletons and send them at this guy. Don't let this guy fuck with you. Okay, you want to use them to farm? Sure. Reasonable. In this case, here's what Hector would do. He would start walking over to the small camp right now. And then right now he'd start walking to Ancients. Why?
Because the skeletons can kill small camps.
And what are they going to do if you have vision of the Ancients by the time they kill this small camp?
They're going to go hit the Ancients with you.
Okay, cool. Now where do they go? Yeah, like, sure they go bottom, but I would have cleared Ancient. Like, I'd be... What is your objective right now? Are you pressuring tier 2 bottom?
No.
No. What is your objective?
To hit my item timing.
So you're trying to kill creeps as fast as humanly possible, right?
Yeah.
So taking that tier 1, very necessary. So, like, I don't want you to play efficiency game before you take that tier 1. What I mean is, play efficiency game, but make it your mission to also be pressuring that tier 1, right? While you're playing that game. So instead of playing that efficiency game in the jungle, you play at bottom, right? But now that you've taken that tier 1 tower, we're chilling. You know, we don't need to pressure that lane anymore. If we want to farm that lane, why are we farming it? Bottom lane.
To get more efficiency?
Yeah, we're doing it for golden XP. Earlier, we were doing it to pressure that tower, okay? So if we were to go bottom, now, it's for efficiency. Is it more efficient to clear the Ancients every minute or to go bottom?
Clear the Ancients?
Yeah, like the Ancients give you more than a creep wave. So it's like, at that point, I'm just pointing out all these little inefficiencies that are adding up. I would say even with your 2 deaths, you could probably have a 15-minute rad, right? Like, based on all the little things we talked about. Maybe that tower bottom dies a minute earlier. And your rotation would have been even more natural that you walked to mid here, because you would have killed the Ancients, probably at like 1350, something like that. And then you would have walked to this medium camp, because it's the only thing left in your own jungle. And your skeletons would have been with you. And you'd be like, oh, there's a Tinker here. And then you walk here and kill him, right? Like, or whatever. You didn't even help, really. But the fact that you were around to help is perfectly fine. Okay. So while Tinker's dead, he's their main source of D-push. I think it's reasonable that you guys want to take this mid-tier 1. I think even though you're going for your efficiency timings, if you can ever take tier 1 towers, especially against heroes like Tinker, you should. So, I'm just going to ask, man. Are those lanes really that scary to you? Is top lane just... Is that, like, scary to you? What the fuck are you doing? You know? Sorry. I'll drop my tone here. You know, like, why? Like, so after we are done with the fight, after we've finished any camp, what should we always do?
TP to either... Or, I mean, you could walk, I guess, to top. Or walk to the dead lane.
So before you decide you're going to TP or walk to a lane, what did you have to do first? You have to look at the fucking lanes.
Yeah.
You really have to look at them. So if I'm clearing a camp, or I'm finishing a fight, or it's like a minute mark where, you know, it's bounty runes or some shit, after I pick up an objective, it could be as small as that. I just have to look at the lanes. Just look at them, you know? I just look at them. I guarantee you, any farming hero or farming player that gets in the habit of looking at fucking lanes will never do this, right? They're just not going to do this. You'll be like, okay, right here. I'll rewind to the exact moment I'm talking about. Ogre dies. Whatever, he's a support, fuck him. We get the tower. We back off. Maybe we proceed to fight. You know, I'll wait till, like, everything's dissipated or whatever. Okay, we're done here, right? Now what? What's better? Golems or that?
The top wave.
What also happens when you TP top here? Based on the timer in the game.
Oh, the runes are in 13 seconds.
So you're going to clear this, then you're going to walk over, pick that up, and then you're going to walk over, clear this, then you're going to walk over, clear this, then this, then this, and then it's probably like 16 minutes at that point. Then you're going to clear this, then you're going to clear this at 16:15, then you're going to clear this, then this, you know. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
What's the plan here?
Nothing,
okay.
I guess.
Cool. Yeah. That's usually the answer. Oftentimes, when you're not afraid, farming patterns are very scripted, okay? Like, the only thing that alters these scripted farm patterns is, like, the threat of dying. Like, you're scared of stuff, so whatever the opponent's doing is, like, dynamically changing what you're doing, you know? Like... That's otherwise farming is very scripted. It really is. That's why in this game, as opposed to my last one, I can literally give you a minute and a half of what your farm should look like. Okay, so let's see. Got a Radiance. They're pushing into you. Got a bunch of dumbasses. Cool. This is a bit crazy, I'd say. Okay. Dumbass now, I guess. Oh, okay, it worked out. Cool. I was aggressive, but hey, you know what? Your team was behind you, ready to follow you up. Willow was there. Cool. You were also way far ahead. So, seems like, you know, I'm just going to be honest. You know, we had a debate in chat. I don't know if it's still going on. But people were arguing, you know, BSJ, you charge a lot for coaching. So my question would be, you know, you're here. You paid money to get coached. Do you watch my sessions? Do you watch my stuff?
I do.
That stuff's all free, right? Yeah, just in general.
Yeah.
Like, all my content that you're not paying for right this moment is free. So,
yeah,
in your experience that you've gathered, what would I be telling you to do while you're farming right now, 10 to 20 minutes into the game?
Go to the top lane.
Okay. So why aren't you there?
Because I didn't know any better.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So why is the top lane... So the opponent's dead lane, right? That's what it is. That's the opponent's dead lane. Dead lane means two things. One... it's the most dangerous part, and also there's nothing for them to accomplish there. So why would I want to go there right now?
Because nobody's going to be there.
And why would I want to go somewhere that nobody's going to be right now?
So I can just keep farming and hit more item timing?
Let's look at my 4 abilities at the bottom half of my screen. Why would I want to go to a part of the map that nobody is right now?
Because my ulti's on cooldown.
So when would I maybe not want to go there?
When my ulti is on cooldown?
Is up, right? Like,
Or
you want
is
to
up.
run at them,
Yeah,
right?
it's off cooldown,
Maybe you
yeah.
want to confront them, right? So maybe going top would actually be bad, you know? Maybe. So at that point, if you have your ultimate, you're pressuring tier 2 top as your form of an objective, or you're running at them. Like, your choice is to either take that objective or confront them directly, right? So when people ask, you know, do I farm top when I'm ahead or shit like that, you're literally saying, I would rather take this tier 2 or I would rather fight them head on. And every game that's different, you make that choice. The point is, if you make one of those 2 choices, great. You know, if you have no cooldown, like your ultimate's on cooldown, so you don't have it, then play on the part of the map the opponent's not going to be. Where are they not going to be? Top, right? It's the same thing as bottom. When you were bottom and you were farming your radiance, what was your objective? It was to farm, right?
Yes.
So, during that time, what was I emphasizing that you do while you farm? Do you remember? What was my main emphasis? You're farming, you're hitting creeps, but what are you doing also?
Oh, pushing the tower?
Why, though?
So that I could force one of their heroes to be inconvenienced there while the other
So,
4...
at that moment in the game, you were farming and you didn't really want to fight, right?
Yeah.
So, would you not say that is literally right now? Like, you want to farm and you don't want to fight?
Yeah, I would say that.
So, if you don't want to fight and you want to farm, what should you do?
Go to the dead lane.
You should casually pressure a tower.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? So,
Yeah.
at this point in the game, the whole idea of the dead lane is they don't want to go top. So that's the tower we pressure. Did they want to go bottom earlier when, like, they can't kill you or anything? No, they don't want to go bottom. Like, nobody wants to deal with that shit. Their Tinker's getting ran at, and, you know, their Lifestealer had a bad game too. He's getting ran at. So none of them want to go bottom. Like, they don't want to fuck with you because they can't, right? So, like, the point is you don't want to pressure that tier 1 bottom if they can fuck with you. Because if they can fuck with you and you're pressuring the tier 1 tower, what do you think they're going to do?
Rotate to you?
They're just going to kill you. They're like, what is this guy doing? And they're going to kill him. So if you're weak early on, you leave your safe lane. Because if you're, that's where they would want to go as an objective, right? That's their tower that they want to take, right? So if I'm weak and it's the tower they want to take, what are they going to do?
They're going to kill me.
They're going to come to my tower and kill me and take it.
Yeah.
So early on, like when people say, you know, when do I stay in my safe lane? It's like when the opponents don't want to fuck with me. Like that's not what they want to do. You know, like if I'm a Slark that has they have no, like, you know, Doom or anything like that, and they can't kill me, I'm staying in my safe lane all I want because they can't fuck with me. So like, what objective do they take at that point? You know, and the minute I leave, when would I leave though? So like right now you had Radiance and ult. What did you do with it?
I walked mid.
You walked mid. Was that an aggressive move by you?
Yeah.
Did it accomplish something?
Yeah, I got a double kill.
So if I'm Slark and I'm free farming my own safe lane, when do I leave?
I
know you
when
don't
they
play
pressure
Slark.
me.
How about when I feel strong enough to just go fuck people up? Because I just can. I can just walk at them and kill them, right? Like, why not? You know, why would I stay in my own safe lane when I can just go kill them, right? So for your case, like, you know, you leave your own safe lane now that you have a Radiance and your ultimate and you just walked at them, you know? Like, why would I stay there if I can just walk at them? So in this case, though, you're back to this whole, I don't have my ult, I'm going to be in this mode of forcing them to react to whatever I'm doing, but not fighting them, right? And that's always top. Yeah. That is almost always top. When you are ahead and you're in this mode, it is always top. I can't really think of exceptions to that. Okay. So what does that also do? If you push in top lane and one of them TPs there to react, say it's Tinker or whatever, I guess in this case it's not as big of a deal because they have Tinker. It still matters, but it's not as big of a deal. Yeah. What are you going to do after one of them comes top? Aren't you just going to, like, walk here with your ultimate again? Okay, so if you don't have your ult and they go top, you're just going to retreat, right? You're going to go farm and do more farming. And after you're done farming these camps, you're going to walk back top and do it again. If you do have ult, though, I'm going to push in this lane and just walk through their jungle, right? Like, and I'm going to be like, hey, guys, boom, you know, stun and die. Like, right? So, right now in this game, I'm sure you're aware you're ahead. Not based on your map positioning. Not based on that, but I'm sure based on just general sense, you know you're ahead. So, not consistently pressuring lanes as early as it was at 8 minutes, and now as early as it is at 17 minutes, is going to lead to a team that is not ahead to what?
Catch back up.
To catch back up. Cool. So, that is why it is of the utmost importance. I don't think you need Vampire Fangs, by the way. I think you have plenty of lifesteal. I would rather armor or any other item, really.
This is Gabe Newell. Thanks for playing Dota 2.
I don't think you need more of something you already have. So,
Radiant's bottom tower is under
do you think Hector would go second item BKB?
No.
Okay. So, I love the pause there. So, let's just foremost, I can't teach you much further in terms of map movements if you don't just walk top right now. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if you were to come back, I'm not saying, like, you know, selling you out to come back or whatever. If you were to come back and I see you playing around top, we can talk about all the things you could do with it and, like, all that kind of shit. But for you and everyone else watching, I can't teach you any further than this in terms of map movements. Walk top, otherwise I can't teach you shit. So, now that we're in this itemization mode, though, do you have to teamfight their lineup? Is that how you win this game? Like, do you need better teamfight than their heroes? Like, are you scared of their teamfight?
Not really.
Okay. So what kind of heroes do they have?
Like, very, like, high mobility heroes.
High mobility, pick off, single target heroes.
Yeah.
So our two options are to itemize defensively so they can't pick me off, or itemize aggressively so I kill them. Would you agree that that makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, is that a curiosity? Let's put our 3.2k brains together and say, what could affect which one I go for? Like, which one would I choose in any given game? Like, it doesn't have to be this. You can tell me using this game which one you think you should do, but give me reasons if you can.
Probably a Blink Dagger. Or,
I'm asking you, do you itemize this game to pick them off or to not get picked off?
Oh, to pick them off.
Why?
Because they're just going to run away in most team fights if the fight's not going the way they want it to.
Okay. So my question is there nobody else on your team that can do that?
Pick them off? Well, I have two. I mean, Axe can do it and Ember.
So why the fuck are you doing it?
Okay.
You get what I'm going for here?
So itemize defensively in my...
Yeah, like, why not allow your team to play aggressively in terms of pickoffs while you just farm as efficiently as possible, giving no fucking shits, because they can't kill you?
Yeah.
Right? Like, so, is there a defensive item against heavy single target that allows you to farm more that farms more aggressively as well? That may pair well with Radiance.
Manta?
Yeah! Makes me move faster, makes me attack faster. If I get hooked, what do I do?
Manta?
If I see Shaman running at me, what do I do?
Manta?
If I get Quap Daggered, what do I do?
Manta?
If I get Open Wounds, what do I do?
Manta? Okay.
Yeah, you see, if I
that
get
makes
lazy,
sense.
you know, like, so, obviously,
Yeah.
it's not like some team item, right? But
Yeah.
imagine your ability to play the map if you just have a Manta. You're literally afraid of nothing. Like, what do they kill you with, right? So now, you have this Manta, okay? This is like this next, like, ramp-up item. This is how players like Hector get 6 slotted at 30 minutes into the game, okay? So now you can farm whatever the fuck you want. You're farming faster. You have illusions to clear ways if you absolutely need to. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You're getting 900 GPM, right? So now, we've got a Manta. We're survivable, right? So I've talked about on carries, it's farm efficiency first if you need it. Next, it's survivability. Third, it's kill potential.
Yeah.
If we don't need kill potential, we look to end the fucking game with our items. So, what I mean is, it doesn't mean walk high ground. It means our items need to start gearing us up to end the game, okay? So what kind of items on Wraith King help us end the game?
AC.
Okay, AC, great. What does that help us do? Take Roche, take towers. It's, like, obviously a nice item for the hero. Like, gives them minus armor, great. So, Manta, AC, we're there. We've gotten to AC now. We're doing a shit ton of damage. If anybody tries to man up on us, they're literally going to get chunked for like 600 damage. So, now that we've gotten the high ground taken care of, we need to not be a threat on the map necessarily, but we do need to be a threat in fights. Would you agree? Like, we need to not be ignorable at this point. So, now that we're able to shove it down their faces, like, it's not because their team fight is strong and we want to, like, out-team fight them. It's now, like, they're going to have to fight us, right? Because I'm just getting 900 GPM. They have to fight me, right? So now that I have an AC, a Manta, what item do I go to make myself scary? Do I need more damage? Is that the problem with their heroes?
No, I wouldn't say that.
What's the problem against their heroes?
Like catch.
Okay, so what should I go? This is like...
Maybe Abyssal Blade?
Yeah, Abyssal Blade. Absolutely. So imagine if you just have like 28-minute Manta, Radiance, AC, Abyssal. Who on their team lives through that shit?
Not a single
Not
one.
a single one of them, right? And also, like, I want to keep in mind, is this Lifestealer scared of your teammates as he is farming?
Yes.
Are you scared of them?
No.
That is like the #1 indicator to just be like, I'm gonna get fucking 6-slotted, bro. Because this is a Lifestealer, he ain't gonna get 6-slotted, right? He ain't gonna get farmed. Because he's scared of shit and you're not. Like, that is like the #1 indicator of who farms faster. Yeah, every hero has like innate farming speed, right? But like Lifestealer, not the fastest farming hero in the game. But I loved this game that I picked Lifestealer. Why? I look at this game. How many of these heroes kill me? Like, if I just push Rage, what happens here?
They lose all their damage.
They just don't do anything, right? I just walk away. So, look at my items. Efficiency. Right? Efficiency. Do I need something to survive? No. Okay, make myself more of a threat. Damage. Catch. Pretty straightforward reasoning here, right? Why did I go MKB for damage against this hero? Like, why wouldn't I go Deso?
I actually don't know.
So, have you watched my video on armor versus minus armor? I'll ask you. I'll ask you quick. What counters what? Does armor counter minus armor, or does minus armor counter armor?
I would say more armor counters minus armor.
Okay, yeah, that's absolutely correct. So, if a hero has massive armor, does it really help to go minus armor items?
Not at all.
So, why would I not go Deso against Morph? How much armor does that guy have? He's got like 40.
A shit ton of armor.
He's got 40. So, my damage item is magic damage, right? 75 magic damage a hit on this shit. This guy gets absolutely shredded. I have a Mjolnir and a Monkey King bar. He's at 900 health with 40 armor, right? Like, that's... So, I make this, and then I just kill people instantly, right? Like, it's a pretty straightforward idea. This is a perfect game for you to watch, where it's like, I just run around the map farming whatever the fuck I want. Like, that's all I did, all game. If you want to check it out, it's very similar. I'm talking about the laning stage, as well as the way I want you to play to Wraith King. So, feel free to watch it. I played a bit more aggressively early than you would on Wraith King simply because I have Rage, but but like the idea is there. So yeah, this is a game where against Tinker, you can't reliably end at 20-25 minutes into the game. You just can't. These types of sniper Tinker heroes, what's their weakness? I'm asking you. What do these heroes not do? Like, what are they weak about?
Killing single target?
If a sniper is behind, and he walks out onto the map, what happens to him?
He just dies.
Okay. Same idea with Tinker. Like, maybe he's a bit more mobile and shit, but how many towers is Tinker gonna take when he's behind?
Not any.
And if Tinker's ahead and he takes towers, is he the one doing it? No, he's like sitting behind them, you know, marching machines or whatever, right? The point is about these heroes, is if they fall behind, their entire team gets stuck in their own base. That's just what they do. Arc Warden, Sniper, Tinker. None of them do anything to help their team. None of them, right? Like, they defensively farm creeps that they have to farm, and they're too scared to do anything else, right? So if they're behind, if you look at every Tinker, every Sniper, every Arc Warden game, the 5 heroes are just stuck in their fucking base. That's all it is. So, we know they're going to sit in their fucking base. So how do we win?
By
having 30,000 net worth higher than them. That is how we win the game. Okay, so
Yeah.
like that's how I look at these type of games. I'm like, okay, I look at Tinker. People would be like, BSJ, I need to infest. They have a Tinker. No, you can't infest. It's literally impossible. You can't push into a Tinker. You can't push into a Sniper unless they're dead, right? Like if they die, sure. But like my goal is like I'm gonna outfarm them as much as I want, and then the minute they die, I push. And if they never die, I just have 6 slots, and then I end the game. And they have 3. You know, I have 6 slots. They have 3. I end the game, right? It's like if you have an Aegis and your ult and an AC and an Abyssal and a Manta and even like another item on top of that, like a Silver Edge or something, like they just, unless you allow yourself to get hooked into tier 4s, they can't do shit to you. Like they literally just can't. Like you'll just be 25, 30k ahead. So it's just a mindset thing that I'm trying to get you in. Wraith King is almost always the be all end all. Like if your team is ahead, just get 6 slotted. If you're behind, maybe you'll have to look to make space, because if you're behind and you're still farming, you're probably the only hero on your team with any net worth, right? Like, that's probably what happened, and it's quite possible to lose a Wraith King game in that situation. But, like, if I'm ahead on Wraith King, by all means, man, like, I can't stand playing against Wraith King when I'm behind, and the guy's just fucking hitting creeps all game. Like, I'm like, all my lanes are just shoved into my towers. This guy, like, I can't kill him because he has 2 lives, and by the time I try to kill him, my team will be there. And I'm just like, now what, you know? And then I know I'm just going to lose 15 minutes later to a 6-slotted Wraith King. Like, I just know that's what's going to happen. So why are you running away? Tinker's dead. Where are you going? Where are you going? Why is my axe bottom lane? Why are you in your own jungle? What did I say the weakness of Tinker is? When he's farming, what does he do for his team?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. So what should be happening to the rest of his team if Tinker's getting farm?
They should be getting run at.
They should be getting ran at. Why? Because they just have no space on the map to do anything. So why are they allowed to win this game?
Because we don't run at them.
Okay. And doesn't that start with the guy that's farming? Why does it start with the guy that's farming? Why is it so important that you're running at them?
Because I have the most, probably the most net worth on this.
But you're the one pushing the creep waves into them, bro. Like, you're the one that's allowing your team to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there are games where I'm like, God, I'm literally just sitting top for 20 minutes in a row being like, team, can we finally do something? This was this Pango game. Where was the Pango game? I think we won this one. It was the first Pango game I won, I think. Am I missing something?
A different account?
No, it was main. If you watch this game, if you want, like, I'm just giving you reasons, like, examples of what I'm talking about. I was pretty strong on Pango, okay? I had a pretty good laning stage. I had a lot of net worth. And it was a game where... one second, I just dropped rice into my keyboard here. I wasn't even eating, and I dropped rice. I knocked it over. Okay. The point was that BSJ... None of my teammates ever moved out of my damn safe lane. I watch my axes farm in the fucking safe lane, and I can't do anything. What do I do, BSJ? In this game, for whatever reason, my teammates didn't feel like leaving my side of the map.
Little bit of this.
They were just like,
bit of that.
my rank 200 Immortal Cores were just like, I'm gonna farm bottom and shit all game. And I was super strong. And I was like, guys, like, we can just fuck with them top and shit. And if you watch this game, it's literally me pushing in the top lane for 20 minutes, eventually getting a rotation, they all die, and we win the game. Eventually. You know? Like, eventually. But the whole reason why the fight actually happened, well, there was a lot of sloppy shit that happened between then and, like, when we ended the game. The reason why this game was, like, absolutely free, and my team, like, just decided this is, like, the point in the game that you guys are at right now. Notice how you're up by 5k? And then you just farm passively, nothing really happens, right?
Yeah.
This is probably when my team started playing top, you know? Like, this is probably about win. So, I'm pretty sure I was top for like 10 minutes waiting for my team to do something. I was like, guys, come here, please. Come here, please. And Pango I'm using as a comparison to you, because Pango is kind of a farming hero that's going to be shoving the lanes in, you know? Like, that's what he's going to be doing. So if you watch that game with that mindset... It's literally me just doing that. So it's like, if you're top, eventually Axe is going to show up. eventually, you know, like, it may take him an hour, you know, like, whatever. At that point, you can have 6 items. But the point is, this whole time, you've been forcing shit in their jungle. But now, you guys are ahead, and the enemy team is allowed to farm all they want. This is how heroes like Tinker win. This is why people ask, why is Sniper so good at low brackets and not high brackets? Because if Sniper's losing at the highest bracket, his teammates have no fucking farm. Why? Because of what I just said. At your bracket, people sit in their own fucking jungle and watch the enemy team farm. Sorry. Passionate, you know?
I understand. No, you're fine. I don't get offended, trust me.
Yeah.
You can yell at me all you want.
I'm honestly going to wrap this game up. Do we have one of your other 2 heroes so I can make sure I talk about kind of the schedule, you know, like the layout of a Wraith. I already laid out the Wraith King kind of game plan for you. I want to do a similar thing for either Luna or Jug.
Yeah, I'll do this one. Do a Luna game.
Cool.
There we go.
Just so everyone knows, this is not frustration taken out on, or this frustration is being taken out on him. It's not directed at him. It's all the games I watch where I'm just like, guys, wake the fuck up. Okay, cool. So we got a Luna game. Looks like a nice one. But that's fine. I've noticed in games where people win, there's usually something to flame anyway. Okay. You still have my screen and everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Your turn to battle.
Okay.
Prepare for battle.
So we're against a Void Spirit or Ricky offlane with a Rubik, probably. Okay.
I think it was a Rubik. Yeah, Rubik Ricky, I want to say.
I just want to say, I'm not a fan of Luna versus Rubik. I actually picked it in a Rubik. And this is only a side note. You're new to carry. About 2 weeks in for people who weren't here at the start of the session. I think eventually it's really important you start adding heroes slowly, right? I think you kind of know that, but once you feel like you're reliably gaining MMR with these 3 heroes, like you're just way above your skill level with those 3 heroes, you need to start adding 1 hero at a time. Okay, like
well, I was gonna ask like when I should do that because when I started playing carry, I had actually dropped and I was down to like 2.9.
Okay,
and I've climbed back to 3.2.
Okay,
from just playing with these 3.
So what's gonna happen here is that I gave you a basic layout for how Wraith King's game plan works, right? And if you follow that even kind of, you're going to feel conceptually like miles ahead of anyone in your game. You really will. I'm not saying that in some bragging way. Like, people just don't think about Dota at this level, at your bracket, right? They just don't. So, if you can get it down perfectly, you know, that's a whole nother story. So, this idea that I'm telling you about Wraith King, every hero interacts with these different concepts, like the dead lane, and lane equilibrium, and tower pressure, and Roshan, and ending the game. They all interact with it differently, okay? But they all have to ask themselves, like, how they're going to go about that. You know, if they're ahead, are they killing people? If they're ahead, are they farming? You know, if they're behind, are they you know, whatever. But the minute you feel like you understand the game from the perspective of these 3 heroes, that's when you have to move on. Like, meaning that, oh, Wraith King's great for this. This is what he does. If it's a good Wraith King game, I'll know it because I understand this, and I'm going to pick him. But what ends up happening is once you actually get high enough understanding of the game, you realize that you want to play the game with one of your 3 heroes, and none of the way they want to play fits that game. You're like, oh. Like, I wanted to play like Wraith King wants to play, but in that game he couldn't play that way. But my only 2 options are Luna and Jug, right? So it's not necessarily that you have to reach that point. You don't have to reach a point where you start saying, like, oh, wow, none of my heroes were good this game. Because your bracket, like, in general, people don't play perfectly or anything, so usually any hero can kind of work. But once you feel like, wow, I've really got the rinse and repeat down of Wraith King, you know, I've played 10 games of them in a row, we won like 8 or 9 of them, and they all felt pretty easy, you know? That's when you need to move on, where don't do too much, right? Do like 1 hero a week or 1 hero a month, you know? where you're playing that hero as much as you played these other three, or at least somewhat, you know, to the point that you can get to. So what I've theory crafted against Rubik is what's annoying about Rubik.
His W is really fucking annoying.
Really fucking annoying. So I'm going to give you an example of why hero pool limitation can be a problem. So, how does Luna deal with his W?
Her passive.
Does it help? Like, but she effectively, from her passive, gets like what? She's now at 63 damage?
Yeah, something
so
like
with
that.
Rubik's W, you're sitting at 43 damage.
Yeah.
So how does Luna deal with it? Is Beam really enough?
Not really, no.
No. So, can Luna deal with that shit?
Not in lane.
How does Wraith King deal with that shit?
He doesn't.
How does Jug deal with that shit?
I guess spin, but
Are you gonna spend your 45-second cooldown, you know, 120 mana to remove a Rubik Fade Bolt?
No.
No. So this is an example of like, wow, I have a 3-hero pool and none of them like laning against Rubik. Fuck. You know, heroes I love against Rubik, Slark, PL, Lifestealer was actually quite nice. Why?
Yeah.
All these heroes can remove Fade Bolt.
And they have short cooldowns.
And they all have short, like, convenient cooldowns. Doppelganger, Rage, and Pact. From
yeah,
Slark.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I'm like, why am I blanking on the hero I've played 900 times? So, so yeah, it's like one of those things where that's when you start realizing, like, hero depth is, like, really nice. Because you'll suddenly get annoyed. What I realized was... at random points in my career, I got really annoyed about playing against certain supports. This was even when I was like 7k MMR and shit. I'd be like, I can't play against fucking Spearbreaker, man. You can ask one of my teammates. I think it was when I was with like IX Mike and them. I said, we have to ban this fucking hero. I can't play against this shit. And I realized that all the heroes I liked playing were ones that liked sitting in lanes and not dying. Like Slark, Lifestealer. And guess what's really good against that?
Spearbreaker.
Yeah. So I just had to learn how to play heroes that didn't do that shit. But I realized, I was like, wow. My hero pool sucks against this one hero, and the only solution is actually to just play more heroes. Like, you know, that's actually the only solution. So it's funny when people come to my chat when they say like BSJ, I struggle against X hero. I'm like, I have to assume your hero pool is all bad against that hero, right? That's usually what I will assume. Just something to think about. Little side tangent there. I just see Luna against Rubik. I haven't enjoyed picking Luna into Rubik. I've picked it twice now, and it actually just felt like I always had less CS than the offlaner. I say, the Battle Pass usage of 3Ks is much higher than I've ever before.
I'm Gabe Newell.
Okay.
You've just achieved First Blood. Thanks and have fun.
So, I had this conversation with the guy at PL last session. If I'm Luna and I'm against Rubik, what's going to happen at the rune?
They're just going to run at me.
So, you're going to start clicking them and then what?
He's going to W.
And then what?
I'm going to run away.
Okay. Should I contest them at the rune?
No.
Okay. Dota's not that complicated. You know, like, it's funny. Like, people are smart enough to know these answers. They just don't think about Dota. Like, you're just not thinking most of the time. And I understand a lot of people play off instinct and shit, but so many of these problems that are, like, something you either have to experience first to use your instinct to not do it again, you can just avoid by processing to yourself, you know, what's going to happen here. Okay. Let's rewind real quick. Quick little tidbit of knowledge underneath our own tower here. Okay. So we kill that. Okay. Okay. Got the pause in time. Cool. 334. 334 health. So, how much tower damage does a tower do to melee creeps?
50 or something? 60, I think?
Very close. It's 100. So, if this tower does 3 attacks, how much HP is this creep going to be at on average?
34.
Okay, cool. So, will I be able to CS it at that point?
Yeah.
Cool. So, if it's going to have 34 health, how much damage do melee creeps do?
To me? Or to, like...
No, to the creeps.
Oh, 21.
Okay, well, we're going to subtract armor. How much does... It's 19. Okay, so you get 19 damage. So, if this creep's sitting at 334 health, and it gets hit by tower 3 times, it's going to be at 34 health. And then it gets hit by 2 melee creeps. What's it going to be at?
9,
It's going to be dead. 34, minus 19. Minus 19 is -4. It'll be dead. So, if I have tower hitting it 3 times, melee creep hits it twice, it is dead. Notice that. I do not get the last hit. So, if I have the creeps coming into my wave like this, you know, I'm being a little bit of a smartass right now. I'm enthusiastic. You know, I've got the juices flowing. So this creep right now, 334 health. Am I allowed to let this tower hit it 3 times and then let those creeps hit it twice?
No.
So, what are my 2 choices?
Drag it back the other direction away from the creeps.
Okay, great. That's one. What are my other options?
Auto attack it once so that if it gets hit twice, then you can kill it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can then auto attack it once, maybe beam it if you have to. Is it worth beaming this creep? I think so. Like, I'd beam a creep underneath my own tower this early in the game, like if I have to. So why would I not pull it to the right?
Because the Ricky they can hit me then?
Yeah, you're low health and you're scared of dying. So, but isn't that the ideal version of this? Because all the other options require you to do some weird shit, right?
Yeah.
So, ideally, I want to pull it to the right, but if I can't, I'm not going to do it. But if not, I have to get creative, right? So I either have to attack it twice, or I have to attack beam it, right? At that point, you just have to figure it out, right? Like, I'm just giving you all your options. The point is, just like the rune contest, towers and shit are very predictable. They give you, obviously they have variable damage and shit that you have to account for, and there are times where you'll just lose to RNG. Like, there are times. It absolutely happens. The towers hit between 100 and 120 before armor, so they hit between 90 and 110, approximately. But on average, they hit for 100. So if you play according to the averages, it'll work most of the time. So yeah, it's just an example of a creep where every time I see a creep underneath my tower, I check its health, and I just check the singles digits, right? Because the tower's doing 100 damage. So, you know, the hundreds digit tells me how many times the tower has to hit it, and the single digit tells me how much is going to be left over, right? So, I don't really have a better way to go about that. There's so many random situations underneath your own tower that can arise. And I want you to, and everyone else watching, to just think, I have to get real creative about this shit. But the first step is to check this creep's health, because otherwise I don't have the information necessary to make that call, right? So really important to start getting the habit of checking creep health. I didn't start doing this until I was like 7K. And I assure you, before I did it, I would miss an extra 2 or 3 CS under tower a game. And it adds up, right? An extra 2 or 3 CS under tower that you're missing. Okay. Okay. Notice how the lane kind of, like, yeah, you started the game a bit awkward because you took damage of the rune, but yeah, against the Rubik, I just don't feel good as Luna. I never get CS. Okay. So we went for a salve of our own and a Wraith Band. Okay. Same thing here. 313 health. Is this allowed to get hit by a creep?
No.
Nope. Cool. See that range creep? Caught you there, huh? Pretty predictable at the end of the day. You start getting real creative when you just think about these things. Like, all Dota is there's a bunch of random scenarios, and it's your job to like adjust as much as possible to each one. And as you get better and better at that, you gain even more. That's all it is. Okay. See, now it's funny to me that you went Wand as Wraith King, who honestly you're casting stun maybe like 3 times a lane, and then on Luna you're against 2 heroes that kind of have spammable spells. Like Rubik's gonna hit you with a lot of Fade Bolts, and Ricky blinks a lot. So, and you don't have Wand, and you have Beam. So I'm like, you know, trying to crunch these numbers in my head, and you know, like trying to figure out where your mind's at. But why not buy a Wand here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, look at your health and mana, and look at the way they're doing damage to you. It adds up, right? It would be nice to have a Wand. So, just something to think about. Having distinct purposes for your items. At the basic level in the laning stage is a great way to practice items in the later game. You know, remember how many questions I had to ask you to come to, like, the right answers on Wraith King? Like, later on? like when we were talking about like the Manta and all that kind of shit. This, in the laning stage, there's only like 1 or 2 questions for every item, right? Like, max. Later on, there's a lot more questions. So if you can't get the decision right with that 1 or 2 questions, you know, you're not going to be able to do it later. I always say this every session, and that's what we're going for. Using the laning stage as a nice little warm-up exercise. In that case, usually I would just sit back denying my own range and beam that. I don't fuck around with whatever they're doing there. You know, like if they're clear-cut, like they're missing a creep right here. So like whenever there's creeps drag to each other like this, if I'm a carry that has a way to secure this, and I see this garbage where he drags the creeps off of it, like I'm fine with you posturing forward right now. Like right now you're like, oh, I'll walk up and kill this creep, right? The minute you see this crap, I just back off, go deny this, and beam this one, right? Like,
okay,
like get rid of these shenanigans. Like, you know, this guy can do it all he wants. Like, this is a classic trick where he's drawing creep aggro off so that you have to stay here longer, right? So it's like, this guy's just a fucking support. You know, let him do this shit while you go deny a creep and last hit this one. Because, like, during this whole time, look at what your one-track mind is costing you here, right?
Yeah.
Right down here. Whoa. Didn't see Void Spirit dropping little naughty words there.
Oh, yeah, the Void in this game is, like, the most toxic player I've ever...
Get in the habit of dropping stat items when you mango and shit. And stick. Get in that habit. It's just a good habit.
Okay.
You know how it works? You know how it works, right?
Yeah, it takes your base stat down, so your mana pool becomes smaller.
Yeah, because your mana pool remains percent based, right? So if you make your mana pool 404 instead of 459, your mango is going to restore a higher percentage of your mana pool, right? And then when you pick your items back up, okay. Just making sure. Okay. Yeah, just get in that habit. It's a little thing, but once you get used to it, you do it almost all the time, you know? And there's just no reason not to. It's a hard habit to get in the habit of, but there's just no benefit to not doing it, so. Okay. All the times you see Arteezy in a mana battle where he randomly lives with 5 health, all these players, it's not a shock. You know, it's all these absolutely tiny things that add up. Let's rewind that again. Let's see how predictable this one is. Catapults. Hit for 27 when Fade bolted. Wait, what? Let's not worry about the Fade bolt. Let's just see how much health this creep has. 308. Look at that. It got hit by something. It had 308 and then got hit by something. Crazy, right? Cut by a creep. Okay.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Just for dramatic effect, I have now pointed out 3 creeps that you lost because you didn't check their health.
Yeah.
It adds up. Okay. Fucking A. That's his fault. Don't worry about it. Okay. Lane's pushed out. If Rubik walks past his lane alone, what happens? Like, if Rubik tries to walk aggressively at you and Ricky's up here farming... Actually, a better question.
Die.
Better question, I guess. Isn't Ricky kind of tied over here? Like, why is he tied over here?
Because he wants those CS?
Yeah, he wants the CS, right? So, Rubik's... If anything happens that's not over here, it's kind of on Rubik, right? So when the lane's this far out, what can we do to, like, piss off the Rubik?
Hit him?
Hit him, or, like, what are we doing to make him come hittable? Like, we want to make him be hittable. Meaning we want to force him to be closer to us.
Beam him, I guess?
What?
We could beam him?
Okay, I got a better question. So, if Rubik doesn't have to, why the fuck would he walk at you? Like, I told you if he walks past the creep wave, he's, like, in danger, right?
Oh, so that I can't secure the creeps?
But I'm saying if he walks past the creep wave and I asked you, is he in danger, and you said yes, so then why would he ever walk past the creep wave?
So that he can secure CS for his carry?
Does he need to do that right now? Is his carry not secured?
No.
So why would he do it?
It'd be annoying.
But he's going to die if he does it. Or, like, he's going to take a lot of damage. So he's not going to do it by choice. We've made that clear. He's not going to walk past the creep wave by choice. Why would he walk past the creep wave?
Maybe if my support is pulling, he's going to try and deny the pull.
Great! That is exactly why he would walk past the creep wave. Does it have to be your support hero?
No, it could just be me, too.
Yeah. So are you going to walk over to the small camp and pull it?
Yeah. No. Well,
No,
actually,
what should you
I think
do?
I walk to the big camp and pull.
Yeah, just tango this tree right here and pull it. And if you get contested, who is it?
It's gonna be the Rubik.
And where's Ricky?
He's farming the creeps up there.
And Rubik's right here.
Mhm.
So what happens there?
You just kill him.
Either you kill him or you do like 600 damage to him and he does a Fade Bolt, right?
Yeah.
Or he has to like lift and defend himself or some shit. The point is, when the lane's up this far, the main question I'm asking myself, similar to the Wraith King game against Quap Pudge, but it was a bit different in that case because Wraith King can kind of just jungle. Luna, can you hit jungle yet?
No.
No. So, on Wraith King, I told you just push the lane out in jungle. On Luna, you have to just pull the lane back, right?
Mhm.
For people watching these coaching sessions, if you've been here all 3 hours, please just take note of how often people just randomly have bad shit happen to them because the lane is bad. The lane equilibrium is bad. Everything that happens in the lane, good or bad, is based on the lane equilibrium. Everything! Like, every game, the lane equilibrium being good or bad is different. Meaning, like, where you exactly want the lane to be is different. However, the majority of games, do we want the lane at their tower?
Yeah.
You want the lane here.
Oh no, not during the lane.
Yeah.
You want it back by your tower.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Right.
So on Wraith King, what did I tell you was the solution?
Push the wave and then just go farm in
Yeah,
the jungle.
right. On Luna, is that an option?
No.
No. So what is our only option? Is that to lane?
No. Pull
Can
the
we
wave
lane
back.
here?
No.
So we have to pull it back because we have to get the lane somewhere that we can lane because we can't go anywhere else, right? Like, that's the point. So in that case, it could either be the small camp or the big camp, but when the lane's this far out, I don't usually mind the big camp because the only guy that's going to be contesting you is the support. No offlaner in their right mind is going to go contest you as you pull to miss 4 creeps. And if they do that, great. You know, like, fine. You just gave up 4 free farming creeps. You know, fine. You know, you win. Touche. Instead of walking up and doing this. Notice how most good or bad situations can be solved by, if they use these abilities on me, then what? So if you walk up there, and Ricky blinks on you, and Rubik Fade Bolts you, what do? What's
Run.
your... Yeah. So is that a good position for the lane to be in?
No.
No. Right? It's pretty, like, that's actually... So a lot of times when you're trying to figure out these new heroes, if you ever play them, or the heroes that you're currently playing and you're thinking about them in, like, a new light, I just ask myself, if the lane's where it is right now, and I walk up for a creep, what's gonna happen? You know? Like, and if the answer is what you just said, they're gonna push their abilities, and I'm gonna be like, shit, then no, it's not a good place for the lane to be, right? But, like, if I asked you, if Rubik comes over and contests the pull right here, you're gonna beam him, and your AA is gonna use this shit, and then the Rubik's gonna do what?
Die or take like 600
He's
damage.
gonna lift you and run away, or he's gonna take a shit ton of damage, or both. Does that something we want to happen, right? That is a good option. Like, that is good, right? So it's like, it's about creating these scenarios, right? Like, they usually can... If you start thinking about the scenarios, they usually play themselves out in a pretty obvious way. Like, people even... Like, it doesn't matter what bracket people are at. They kind of naturally know what they're supposed to do a lot of the time. They're just like, oh, this is Luna. I can just blink on this guy. Cool. It's really easy to apply strength. It's hard to avoid the strength. Like, meaning, like, you know, you see that the opponent is strong and you can avoid it. What I mean is, it's really easy for Ricky to be like, wow, this Luna, I can just blink on him. But it's really hard for you to be like, oh, this Ricky could just blink on me, you know? That's the skill. That's where the skill comes in. And then if the situation's bad like that, like I said, your job is to create the scenario where it's reversed, right? At least as best as you possibly can. Every time I dive tower, just something to ask you here. When the lane looks like this, and I'm diving tower, out of the corner of my mind, what should I check?
How many creeps I have under tower?
Sure. How does that apply?
Because, like, if there's more creeps, then I have a better chance of having the tower not aggro on me.
You have, like, what do you mean by better chance?
Well, I have 3 creeps that the tower will hit over me.
Okay, just making sure you don't think like tower aggros are random or some shit.
Oh no.
So, what do those creeps that are underneath tower with you represent to you? Like they're taking the tower for you, right?
Yeah, like a shield, I guess.
Yeah, so they're a shield. So, would you agree that it's like a time duration shield?
Yes.
So, how many creeps you have represents what? It represents how long you have to dive.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the game that might conveniently give you an extra 4 seconds to dive with?
Glyph.
Sweet. So what should I, in the corner of my mind, check after I've checked how many creeps I have? Also, like, that is also a very important answer. Like, that was a good answer. What should I check?
If my glyph is up.
So, yeah, this was a situation where I thought, like, glyphing the creeps would have been really good right here. Like, right when he did his E and even before the Fade Bolt, a glyph here would have been really nice, because I know I'm being aggressive. And are you 100% confident you're going to be done with this shit by the time this tower has killed these creeps?
Yeah.
You're 100% sure.
Oh, well, no.
No, it's possible, right? It ends up being really close. Look at this. That's really close.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm telling you that you got punished or whatever. I'm telling you, like, it was really close, you know? Like, why take this risk? You don't need to, like, just glyph it, right? Something to think about there. That was really close to you tanking, like, 2 or 3 tower shots.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first off, Brown Boots into Dragonlance, not a thing. Second off, if you kill Ricky, what's he gonna do when he gets back to life?
Run at me.
Why?
Well, because I'm about a quarter HP.
Okay,
right
and
now.
what's he?
Full health with full mana.
Sweet. So, what are our options when that's the case? Is our option to lane normally?
No.
No, that's not an option, so let's already ixnay what you're doing right now. What are our options?
Just kind of play passive and gain XP.
So I just killed the guy, right? I just exerted dominance, accrued a lead. Is the proper response to that to sit back and soak XP?
Probably not.
Did I try to kill that guy under my tower? Did I go for that kill on Ricky such that 20 seconds from now I can sit under my tower soaking XP while he farms? Is that why I went for that kill?
No.
No. So is that an option?
No.
No. What is our options? We have 2 options.
Go back to base.
3 options. So I guess that's one of them. Sure. What else?
Deny yourself, I guess?
No, you don't do that as a carry. No, not happening. You don't deny yourself. What are our other options? This applies to any carry. It doesn't have to just be Luna.
I mean, I guess you could go to the jungle.
Sweet. That's one of them. What's next? Why are you not allowed to lane?
Because I don't have any resources left.
So how do you, what's the other option?
Oh, buy regen?
Yeah, fly yourself some fucking health. So, when do you need to buy this regen?
Probably as soon as I'm, like, done killing him, get back to the tower.
Tower is under attack.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. Right about now. Right? You're done with Rubik.
Yeah.
Things have chilled out a bit. Cool. You got 16 seconds. Where's your courier at right now? Is this your courier?
No, I think he's in base.
Yeah, it's right here.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's go through the options. Does going back to base ever sound very good?
No.
No. So would you agree that's like an absolute final resort here?
Yeah.
Okay. So, going back to base is not an option. Unless we absolutely have to. So that's the option I come to if all of the other options are just impossible, right? Like, I just can't accomplish them. So, is regenning a option?
Yeah.
Well, based on where your courier is regenning an option?
No.
No, because, like, to regen right now, you need what? Like a salve and a clarity or something?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not an option. So jungling, is that an option really?
No, because Luna's really bad at jungle.
No, yeah,
early
Luna, you're
game.
not going to just straight up jungle. So at that point, you're now making the choice between I'm going back to base or somewhere in the middle here. So if the lane's going to be normal, it's going to come back to the Ricky, right? He's going to come back to a lane where if the creeps meet each other, you can't lane. So what's your technically a fourth option that's a mixture of laning and jungling?
Pull.
Sweet.
Well, stack and pull.
No, you don't have to stack. It's 825. So the big camp, it's gone, right? I'd usually say ideally, I would have walked over here at 820 and pulled the big camp. That's what I would have done. But it's gone. So what's my other option?
Pull the small camp.
Yeah. So how long do I have to lane for? Like, how long can I lane?
7 seconds.
Well, technically maybe 9, right? Because he has to TV. Whatever. You were answering for the right reason. So, let's lane for 9 seconds. During that 9 seconds, what would I ideally want to do? Pretty much what you're doing right now. Kill as many creeps as I possibly can. But, I have to pull. Otherwise, like, the lane's over. So, I would lane until I have to walk over and pull. So, I guess I would just say, hey, it's all you, buddy, and walk over. Okay. So, once you get level 7, based on the way the lane's been going, and let's say you get level 7 off that small camp, you know, you're sitting at 300 health, tangoing up, what's my skill build point going to be in at level 7?
Probably my W.
Sweet! So, we're just giving you, like, you know, all the little proper reactions of things that are going on here. That's all I'm trying to do. Otherwise, you're in this awkward moment where you're sitting back and not laning. And as a 3K player, you will gain a lot of MMR if this shit doesn't happen, where you're just sitting back, just waiting. And sometimes, that is your only option. In this case, was there another option?
Yeah, you could have pulled a small camp.
Yes, exactly. So that's what we're trying to avoid. And now, once again, I had this in my last Luna session. When you're ahead on Luna, what's like your way of exerting your aheadness? Is it similar to Wraith King?
Yeah.
What's the difference between Luna and Wraith King, though?
You don't have, like, sustain with Luna.
You don't have sustain, but you also kind of have kill threat, right?
Yeah.
So, maybe like one big burst of an engagement with your ult. But aside from that, you're just mainly farming, right?
Yeah.
Most times, are you pushing that tower? Like, are you actually walking up to it and pushing it?
No.
Why or why not? So why not?
You're kind of squishy.
Okay, yeah. It's because you're afraid of dying. So, on Wraith King, how did I say you protected yourself?
Push with the skeletons and then just go farm the jungle.
Yeah, so on Luna, how do you protect yourself?
Push with your glaives and then
Sweet.
go farm the jungle.
So what's your plan?
So, same thing as Wraith King, I guess. Just push the wave and then.
No, I'm saying
jungle.
with your current skill build, what's your plan here?
Oh.
Do you see what I'm saying, though? Like,
yeah.
Where as a carry player, my goal is to have this idea of, like, how I'm trying to protect myself, how I'm trying to be efficient, like, the way I want the lane to be played at this point. Almost all carries at this stage, like, a lot of them will want to push the lane in and farm jungle. And that's approximately around, 8 minutes, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So, your idea should be that if I push this lane, it saves me. And that's all that really matters to me. And also, if I'm not feeling like I'm confident enough to push the lane, I'm going to be rotating between jungle and lane to farm underneath my lane. In which case, I want to be able to clear those jungle camps as fast as possible, such that I can get back to the lane. So it's oftentimes I see these Lunas, they always go 4-0-2. Like every Luna I've coached so far, I think 3 or 4 of them have gone 4-0-2. And it's like, I don't mind the 3-0-2 if you think it's going to help you lane. Like, great. I'm fine with that. You even see Lunas in my bracket sometimes go 2-4-2. Like, they'll get that second point in beam and then just start maxing glaives, right? For this point. A little bit different every game, but it's this idea of how you plan to play the lane. And we're going to be wrapping up relatively soon here. But All I'm telling you is it's just like the Wraith King leveling your Vampiric Aura before anything even happened. It gave you one option, and as long as the game looked like that one option, great, you were okay. In this case, without having glaives, you have one option, and that is to lane. And the minute you get invaded here, if the opponent were to come here at all, you're done. You have nowhere to go. You don't have anything to do. So it's just something to think about with your skill builds, with your item builds, giving yourself options. So you didn't go for the... Thank God you didn't go for the Brown Boots Dragonlance. I was getting a bit nervous there. If you want to go Dragonlance, I don't think it's terrible. In an ideal scenario, I would probably go the Helm Dom or the Mask of Madness, both of which kind of speed up your farm and give you sustain, which, like you said, is what Luna kind of lacks, is the sustain. Obviously, the Helm Dom creep gives you regen, but also tanks for you. And on Luna, I run into this problem a lot, where every time I'm farming, I'll casually hit a hero, and then I just take 500 damage, and it's like, now what? Buy a salve? Yikes. So it's like, if I'm having a good game on Luna, most of the time, I also will be buying myself an item on any hero I play to alleviate my weaknesses. So on Luna, that's sustain. On Jug, it can be like mana with a Battle Fury. You know, you're spinning to speed up your farm, whatever. So my main emphasis is that it's not that you're fighting down here. I think fighting with Eclipse is completely fine. But I think your goal should be to be farming and then show up to fights. You shouldn't be, like, the center of attention of these fights, right? And what I mean by that is you're putting yourself in a lane where the opponent's probably going to show up to. And should you be dead right now?
No.
Should you be dead right now? Luckily, you're in the 3K bracket, where, actually, the last 2 games I've watched of the 3K bracket, the Spectre has not leveled their ult until, like, 10. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, what? Like, what am I missing here? Like, what is this shit? I was literally like, why is he not dead to Haunt? And then I just look at this and I don't see an ult button, and I see this, I'm like, what?
Maybe they follow some preset build.
I can't fathom how a preset build doesn't tell you to level Haunt at level, like, 7 at the latest. Like, I don't think I've seen a single professional Spectre go after 6. Like, I think they just level Haunt at 6. My point being, though, is you being bottom, what's the opponent team's lineup going to play like? Who are they going to play around?
The Void Spirit.
And Ricky, right?
Yeah.
And where are those heroes going to go?
Towards the safe lane to try and disrupt me.
And what about the opponent carry? What's he supposed to be able to do?
Farm safely.
And then what? Show up to your fight whenever he fucking wants to, right? Because that's what his R button does.
Yeah.
So you being in your own safe lane is asking to get 3-man ganked, is it not?
Yeah.
By somebody that's global, right? Like, they can be there anytime they want. So you're literally saying, hey guys, come get me, right? Like, this is the opposite. Like, I just want you to process real quick that you went and AFK jungled on Wraith King last game, and you are farming your own safe lane as Luna this game. Are you processing to me why I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, I believe in you, right? I believe that after this session, you'll be able to apply these things. Obviously, you couldn't, like, retroactively fix this game, but all of the concepts that apply to Wraith King, they apply the same to Luna in regards to the questions you ask yourself. But, like, Wraith King, I told you to go back to your safe lane because I'm like, does Lifestealer kill you? Does Tinker kill you? Does Quap kill you? And you're like, no. And I'm like, well, then why are you not at your own safe lane? In this case, does Ricky Void Spirit Spectre kill me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why am I here? Like, why the fuck am I here? So that's like, even if you don't die here, right? You're only living because of this guy being this guy. You know, whatever. Like, I don't understand that. But even if you were to live, right? And these are all, like, formulaic. Like, this is the way the game gets played. This is how the team's going to play. Like, very rarely have I gone into a coaching session, said this kind of shit, and it just doesn't play out that way. It's every bracket. Like, it's just the natural order of Dota that happens. So, that's about it for me for this coaching session. Is there any final questions you got, bud?
No, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed your attitude. I just want to tell you that right now, because I was obviously a bit out there sometimes during this session, so...
Oh, no, you're perfectly fine.
Right on, man.
I deal with way worse at work.
I believe it. I believe it. Okay. I'm going to wish you the best of luck from there, man. And thanks for signing up.
Yeah, thank you.